Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving straight into a frankly shocking controversy that has recently erupted around one of Bihar's most beloved and famous educators, Khan Sir. We're going to objectively break down exactly what happened, the sudden mob attack on his coaching center, the gunfire that followed, the resulting police FIR, and ultimately his totally unexpected surrender. Let's look at the facts exactly as they've been reported step by step.
So, conspiracy or crime? That's the big question we're asking today. How does a massively celebrated educator, a guy who built this huge following by helping kids, end up facing a serious police FIR and actually surrendering himself to a court of law? Are we looking at a calculated mafia conspiracy designed to take him down? Or, did he just make a really grave mistake? Keep that question in the back of your mind as we unpack the evidence.
Section 1. The Rise of Khan Sir. Background and Context.
To understand the stakes here, you have to understand the numbers. At his institute, Khan Global Studies in Patna, he charges a wildly low fee, literally just 200 to 500 rupees. By keeping things that cheap, he essentially democratized education in his region. He took the highly coveted dream of becoming a UPSC or BPSC officer, something that usually costs tens of thousands of rupees, and made it accessible to practically everyone, completely regardless of their financial background. It was a real game changer.
That whole pricing strategy is driven by his core motto: education should not be expensive. And hey, it worked. It sparked a massive educational revolution, earning him lakhs of devoted students all across India. But, as we see all the time, massive success brings massive friction. By totally disrupting the market with those rock-bottom fees, Khan Sir inadvertently created some insanely fierce competition. He naturally picked up a lot of rivals and enemies within the highly lucrative traditional coaching industry.
Section 2. The night of June 2nd, the inciting incident.
So the tipping point happens on the night of June 2nd, 2026. Absolute chaos erupts. A violent mob of roughly 15 to 20 attackers specifically zeroes in on Khan Global Studies. And they didn't just protest. We're talking serious vandalism and stone pelting. Promotional posters were violently ripped down, and the physical safety of the staff was completely compromised. One security guard was actually seriously injured. This wasn't a quiet dispute, and a widely circulated viral video actually caught the whole shebang on camera.
But the story definitely doesn't end with the attack. It's the retaliation that sparked the real legal firestorm. Facing down this violent mob, two of Khan Sir's security guards, Pradeep Kumar and Taileshwar Singh, drew their weapons and fired shots into the air. That specific moment of gunfire, that's what shifted the narrative from a simple vandalism case into a severe public safety and criminal incident.
And here is where the legal jeopardy for Khan Sir truly begins. When the police finally brought these two guards in for interrogation, they didn't just claim self-defense. Nope. According to police reports, the guards stated that Khan Sir explicitly ordered them to open fire. Furthermore, they allege he told them, "I will handle it," implying he'd take care of any fallout. That single alleged quote is the thread connecting Khan Sir directly to the gunfire.
Section 3. FIR and surrender. Legal escalation. The timeline of this escalation was unbelievably rapid. Talk about a crazy week. We start with the attack and the retaliatory firing on June 2nd. Just 3 days later, on June 5th, an FIR is formally registered at the Kadam Kuan police station, and those two guards are arrested. Realizing exactly how grave the situation was, just 2 days after that, on June 7th, Khan Sir arrived at the Patna Civil Court with his lawyer and officially surrendered himself to the authorities.
Now, you might be wondering, why surrender so quickly? Well, because the charges filed on June 5th were absolutely massive. The FIR included Section 307, attempt to murder. This was coupled with violations of the Arms Act because of the gunfire. While the guards were immediately jailed for pulling the triggers, Khan Sir was officially named in the case for abetment. Basically, he is legally accused of encouraging or ordering this serious crime.
Section 4. Two sides of the story: conspiracy versus crime.
Whenever an incident like this happens, especially involving a public figure with immense support and fierce rivals, you get totally different narratives. We have to look at both impartially. On one hand, Khan Sir's camp claims this entire ordeal is a calculated conspiracy orchestrated by a coaching mafia. They point to intense rivalries, specifically naming Gyan Bindu Academy, and suggest the firing was strictly an act of necessary self-defense. They also heavily remind the public of his long history fighting for students' rights. But flip the coin, and the perspective of the police and his rivals is strict and procedural. Discharging firearms in a public space is a grave crime, period. The police are pointing right at the guard's sworn statements that directly implicate Khan Sir. For law enforcement, this is an active, ongoing criminal investigation, completely regardless of his popularity.
Section 5. The Student Impact. Collateral Damage.
Let's zoom out, because this matters way beyond just the walls of the courtroom. This incident absolutely rips the lid off the fierce competition within Bihar's coaching industry. This isn't just about teachers and chalkboards. It is a highly intense, incredibly lucrative, and clearly sometimes very dangerous business environment. The true collateral damage here? It's the students. The futures of lakhs of young aspirants who rely on these centers to lift them out of poverty suddenly hang in the balance when their educational safe havens turn into literal battlegrounds.
Because of all this crazy disruption, there are 3 absolutely crucial takeaways for the students out there preparing for these exams. First, stay away from violence. Getting caught up in institutional rivalries can ruin your career before it even starts. Second, keep your head down and maintain focus solely on your studies. And third, respect the legal process as it unfolds. Ideally, incidents like this will serve as a massive wake-up call for the government to step in and implement policies to curb this intense coaching rivalry before it escalates any further.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer. I'm going to leave you with this final pivotal thought. As the court weighs the evidence, the police reports, and those guards' testimonies to decide his fate, we have to ask, is Khan Sir actually innocent? And will the court grant him bail? But honestly, perhaps the bigger question is, what will be the lasting impact of this startling criminal case on Bihar's educational revolution? Only time and the courts will tell. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack the facts of this complex case. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in